Good day, salutations. Where today we'll be looking at another Around-Born relic. We've looked at quite a few so far, and if this is your first time coming here because you had no interest in the other ones, then welcome. It's good to have you here. Don't forget to check us out on twitch.tv/Wubsy. Anyway, let's get to it. Now, the king of the poking stick is the Dragoon in, of course, Final Fantasy XIV. Now, this mighty spear which I hold upon my hands, which you can see right here, is being modelled by my lovely Makote. You know, there is no other race, and everybody plays a cat girl online, and every creator is a cat girl, except for the very few auras. There are not many femras out there. Anyway, this spear you probably have seen a few times when you're going through the Dragoon storyline. Maybe Estinian has it, etc, etc. Your fellow Azura Dragoon. But to the point of what we need to get to, its name is Gae Bolg. Get that out of your system. I know, hardy, giggle, giggle, giggle. And it is a staple of the Final Fantasy series. It is usually either featured in every single Final Fantasy game, or it is the actual ultimate weapon for the spear user or spear in general of that game. I believe Cid's, I think, is Gae Bolg. I know for a fact that everybody's favorite Dragoon from Final Fantasy IV, Kain, his weapon and ultimate weapon, I believe, is Gae Bolg. In fact, I believe it's even modelled after him, after his sort of spear on the cover of it is. But that's enough of that. This is what the first form is of the Gae Bolg, once you have, done all the tasks or the menial labour that is required of you from Rowena and Geralt, etc, etc. And you have started your actual journey towards getting the Zodiac weapon for Dragoon. Anyway, let us move on and start going through the phases as always. Oh yes. Which is the Gae Bolg Zenith. The first form in terms of when you actually start getting it shiny. It's very easy once you've done the first stage beforehand. You just need to go get yourself some items from Mordona, or any sort of relevant area where you can get them. It's usually under the weapon stuff that you need. It costs a lot of poetics to do so. Take it to the forge, pop it in, and bada bing, bada boom, it comes out all looking shiny like so. Didn't really go into a depth bit before, but we'll have a little bit of a look. But as you can see, it's got some little dragon wings, and it's a very purple and blue spear indeed. Anyway, this is the form you need to be farming those Atmas. Let's get to what the Atma version is going to look like. We've got to keep seeing those shinies, Is the glow going to be different? You don't know. I do know. You don't know yet. Okay. The Gae Bolg Atma. You farm the Atmas. You have now got the upgraded version, as you can see here. It has changed colour palette. It's no longer quite a dark blue with little bits of purple and black and stuff like that. It's now a more brighter blue, and it makes the sort of the wings stand out a little bit better as well. Personally, I'm not a big fan of the colour change, but this is what you're stuck with for a little bit, so I hope you get used to it with the way that it looks. But this is the bit which you'll be using for quite a bit on the books, which I'm almost done with the book phase for the Black Mage relic, which I'm currently working on as I am recording this. Once that is complete, I just have 2 remaining, which is White Mage and Scholar to do. But I don't know when I'll get around to doing those ones, but yes. Say hello to your new and very shiny stick. Here's your new best friend. You've done the books. You've got it to be nice and shiny. It is now got that sort of ethereal, almost sort of crystal glow to it that you have when you're around Hydaelyn, or those little few moments you're around Hydaelyn, or just crystals in general. I don't think it's a bad glow, the Animus version. I believe this is the Animus version. Let me just double check, just to be sure. Yes, this is indeed the Gae Bolg Animus. Thank you for some of my things that just sold right now. Ignore that. But yes, now you're onto the bit which everybody loves to do. I think it's worse than the books personally, which is the spear grid. I keep calling it a spear grid. The spear scroll materia phase, which it will cost you a lot of gil. A lot of gil. Not because of the actual spear scroll itself, but because of the materia. They are low rank and people know this and they will charge you quite the premium indeed. Anyway, let us move on to the next phase. And here we have, just before we start going into, like, we're getting near to the end of the Gae Bolg form, fortunately. Or fortunately, depending on how you look at it, because the end result is, it is fantastic. This is the Novus version. The spear scroll has been infused upon your lance. It is now glowing a purple sort of hue. It's all rising upwards. The flow of energy is emanating out from the very tip, from the very end of the spear to the very tip of the spear. And the next form is the final one. So this is the bit where you'll be farming a absolute goddamn ton of light. I personally recommend Amperdor Keep. Not Amperdor Keep, sorry. Aurum Vale. I got through that place in about 2.5 minutes as a Dragoon. It really wasn't too hard at all. And if you get that blinding, it goes even quicker. Let's finally go move on to what the final form looks like. Or should we say the final glow? It should be more accurate. And here we are once again at the final stage for the Realm Reborn relic, the Gae Bolg Nexus. Whew. It is quite the task to get through to this, especially back in the day. And if you're doing this at level 50, I salute you, I really do. I highly recommend doing this from when you're like level 70 to 80, just because it's a lot easier to do to get the light phased and all that sort of stuff. Plus the gil as well. But yes, here we are, we have the glow. You can barely see the spear anymore. It is incredibly blinding. Like, what is even going on anymore? You've got the rings of light. You've got 4 rings of light all across the actual weapon itself, all at different sizes. As you can see, it starts off small, it goes big, gets bigger just around where the wings are, and then it gets a little bit smaller just near the top. It's almost like it's getting ready to fire off some form of laser cannon, which technically does happen later on, but not at the moment. But this is, as I say, and I will always say, the Nexus form is the final stage till you get to Zodiac, which the next bit will be the Zodiac form, and then the actual glow. The Zodiac weapons themselves, as always, are dyeable when you get to those phases. We will have a look at the dyeables for it. I know I didn't do it for a few of the others, but you know what? Let's start doing it again. So, here we are. Almost to the end of the journey. The Longinus, I believe it is pronounced. The Zodiac Weapon of Eld, as they call it. This spear, to me, looks incredibly brittle and almost looks like a black mage staff instead. It has a sort of wheeling spire of the tridents near the end there. Maybe it's a sort of like to do with the coiling the binding coil of Behemoth, but I don't know for sure. Either way, it is a very nice aesthetic little look that it has going for it. It's just got the regular black, blue, purple. It's got a nice red sort of gem right in the middle there that's just glowing and pulsating. Same as well at the other end. If you put the weapon away, it actually turns off. And you can see it sort of has a little spinny thing. So it is animated as you bring it out. It is a spear to pierce the heavens. Tengen Topper Goran Lagen. Not a reference, but it should be. But as I said before, this is dyeable, so let us have a look at how it does dye, indeed. Let's just put some gear on. So here we are, we got it out here, just nice and normal. You can see the actual sort of, I think it's the very tippy tip, the shaft, as well as also the actual blades themselves near the end that dye, but we will know as we go through them. It's not a very good example of what we're showing here, but you know what? It's incentive for you to get it down the line as well. I will reiterate as well, because I'm a dum-dum, it does not actually change the glow as you do certain things, but yeah, it just sort of make it get that illusion. You can see what kind of is dying as we go through. It dies little bands, and it dies the blaze, and it dies a little bit at the end. But yeah, these are all the different sort of dyes you can go with. Got your yellow. In all honesty, I just leave this as it is because it just looks fine like that. But of course, it is the final tab which you're interested in seeing. Now, I won't show the shiny variants when it comes to dyeables because it'll be exactly the same, but with an extra bit of glow. Even white dye doesn't really stand out much. I find that sometimes dyes with metal don't always work very well. That doesn't look terrible, but why would you ruin such a good weapon? At the end of the day, though, the option is there if you wish to dye it. I personally would rather just keep it as it is because I think it looks lovely. I really think I do. Anyway, let us look at the Zodiac Zeta, which is the final form that this weapon goes into. Here we are, the Longinus Zeta. Quite different, eh? It's a very interesting weapon indeed. Let's just pop it away for a minute. It looks exactly the same as it does normally, but as you just saw, once you whip out your spear and have a look at it, what has changed? Well, if it isn't already obvious, you have some black rings emanating around the sort of, just, I don't know what you would call this on a spear, but we'll call it the sort of the hilts, just before it goes up there. Or the pommel, whatever you can go with. But it's just before what the blade's attached to. The crystal is now emanating a sort of, like an energy blade coming from there now. So you've actually got the blade in between, or the coils in the middle, which that itself is like a sort of black and red two-pronged blade coming out, jetting out from the center of it, surrounded by the glowing tendrils coiling around it to give it that sort of extra bit of effect. Personally, like, a lot of the spears are really well done in this game in terms of relic-wise. I actually really do like spears and fist weapons in most games as well as bows, but I don't tend to play Dragoon because I kind of find it a bit fiddly to play. It is getting a rework, which by the time this goes out, it isn't out yet. I believe that is being delayed to 6.3. But yeah, like, just as a PSA as well, that because I haven't mentioned it in some of the other relic videos, if you do happen to watch them, if you delete these or hand them in for the starter for the Heaven's Ward relics, which I will mention when I do those videos, you need to do these all over again if you do not have the replicas. They do not have it in a way where you can just, once you've made them, that's it, you don't need to keep them anymore as far as I'm aware. I still keep them just in case. You also, if you want to get the replicas, need to have these weapons on your person when talking to the NPC to actually get the replicas. Otherwise, it won't register that you have done it. So that is why you do not destroy these or hand them in. And quite frankly, with the amount of work you put into these, I would just say, why would you? It was nice the option was there, but I mean, I would not want to. Anyway, that is the Gae Bolg to the, I want to say insatiable, but it's the Longinus all the way to the end. I hope you are enjoying these showcases for relic weapons as much as I enjoyed doing them. I still have Bard, Summoner, and that's it. Bard and Summoner to go. And then I'm working on Black Mage currently, and then I just have White Mage and Scholar remaining. But I will probably get on with doing some of the Heaven's Ward and the potential Stormblood ones I have done so far as well. I may try a different sort of method with those in how I do them, but other than that, This is the sort of style I like to do, and this is the sort of style I am sticking with. I know that there's probably people out there who prefer and enjoy the ones where they don't say anything, but I think a nice little bit of commentary goes a long way in sort of explaining the sort of processes and stuff like that too. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. If you got this far in the video, I would say ta-ta for now. Don't forget to follow us on twitch.tv/Wobsy. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe, and I will see you once again for some more relic weapons and also camps and stuff like that too. I have a lot of content planned. A lot of content and some